How's it going, everyone? Jesus here, aka Tyrant Dominus, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about Anchor. Anchor is the one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. Honestly, Anchor is a very enjoyable platform to be on, listen on, and just a joy to be a part of this community. Anchor, come check us out. And welcome back to Reactioncast. It's your host Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus. This time around, we're going to be talking about the Disney Plus show, Star Wars Visions. Now, Star Wars Visions is the animated anthology TV series that was done in collaborations with about 6 different Japanese anime studios, and to give a kind of basically a fresh and diverse look into the Star Wars universe. And these 6 studios gave us 9 different episodes. Some studios got to do more than one, and normally I should have done is kind of done one for one episode reviews, because what I'm gonna say so I'm just gonna overall say my overall thoughts on Visions as a whole, as this anthology. So the best part about Visions as a series is that it is a wonderful way to do multiple different stories and different art styles, and just have a chance to just do some crazy stuff you want to be able to do in live actions. And some of the stories that were presented to us in Visions were so fun and so enjoyable. And depending on if you watch this in your native language or you watch it in Japanese. For me, I watched all of them. First run through, I watched every episode in Japanese with English subtitles, just because I felt that's how it should have been watched. A couple episodes do a reasonably good job with the English voice acting for sure, but I think some episodes for sure do deserve to have its like native Japanese. The subtitles kind of were weird for me, depending on episodes. Like, I couldn't read them sometimes, or they were like off by like a second or two. But that's kind of a little note there. But yeah, every story, depending for everyone, there is something for everyone here for sure. There are a couple episodes that I really love. There are some episodes I did not enjoy as much. But the biggest thing I will say for this anthology is that every episode was short, or it felt short, or it was short, because there was so much that could be done, and every episode deserves a good 40-45 minute to maybe even an entire movie, to even maybe an series to develop the show. That is the ability of every episode. Like, there's like one or two that kind of like it settles well within their time frame, but there's just so much concept in some episodes that they deserve more, because it hurts that episode, because there could have been more to explain the plot, explain the characters a little bit more, to give you a little bit more feel on what's happening around. And for sure, there was a lot of like time crunch to kind of meet certain things. So that's kind of my only gripe. It's just the feeling of time of every episode. Besides that, everything else was pretty good. It was fun to watch every episode. I was excited to see wonderful blade battles here and there. The scores for a lot of these episodes were really wonderful. It's the animation styles that differentiated from each other, depending on the studios, where you could feel and work for the story they were telling. There was like your like on episode 1, that's they went with this classic black and white, and the only color you got were sabers and lasers, or the blasters, and now it's like, oh, that's kind of cool, I like that. And it had this really like felt drawn, like drawn on, but you could tell there was still some 3D animation happening there, but it was fine. Going to a little bit more like kid friendly with episode 20B1, and it felt like Astro Boy, and it was like just a joyful child show, and it was like really fun, and it, it's just enjoyable. To like episodes like the Twins or the Ninth Jedi, which kind of feels a little bit more like what modern animes are like, and this kind of like interesting like movement, outrageousness, but yeah, it's fun, and like I said, it's just the time that every episode had. I just wish some of them were just a little bit longer, or it could be more, and maybe they will become more, I'm not sure. The only other thing that I looked into, because there's like, this is Star Wars, and this is a franchise that has a lot to it, so there's already like a back catalog of lore and stuff like that. So when you see something like, oh, like what is that supposed to mean? From my understanding, from what I've been reading, is these production companies had a lot more freedom than is normally given to like I would say like the next installment of movies and franchises. So they had a little bit more leeway with things, with lore and stuff, because there's some fun, interesting lore that was like in there that like, oh, so that's how it works, kind of, and you know, but you know, they had leeway and it was fine. You know, once you kind of get that back and just are watching some of these like amazing like lightsaber battles or situations people are put into, it's really good. The only other really drawback besides the time was, no, I think time just hurt a lot of these episodes, because some of the plots were like reasonably good. They just weren't given enough time to marinate with individuals, and it just felt that it was undercooked basically, and it just felt underwhelming. Like it was okay, like, you know, it's like medium raw, like cooked meat, or actually a little bit like, what's under raw, what's under medium rare, like rare. Like I'm not a big rare type of meat person, but I don't mind a little pink, but it for me, a good cooked piece of meat works for, but it did not for this. Really bad analogy, but it just, like I said, it could have been left in to cook a little bit more, or not cook more, but extend more. Yeah, time, that's what. So I'm not gonna really go into a lot of spoilers right now, but I will talk about them. I'll talk about my favorite ones in kind of like, I'll call it the after credits in a second, because there are some that I for sure like deserve a little bit more credit for what I think. These are going to be like my hype moment, but for sure this anthology series, Star Wars Visions, I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. It was amazing to have this with us. Like, we will always have this, and I'm happy we do. Like I said, the only drawback are some of the things that just fell short, and it hurts to see that, and I just want more from them. And if this is kind of like a way to kind of test the waters, you know, as much as it would hurt to do like a season 2 with more testing, but if it gives us more fun stories like they got here, then do it. Like season 2, a couple more stories from all these studios, or maybe some other ones, because man, these are some fun ones. But yeah, solid 9 out of 10. Go ahead, check it out. Like, I highly recommend you watch it. There's a lot of replayability on some of these episodes, if you enjoy some of the stories and stuff like that. So I'm going to be talking a little bit more deeper in I will call it the after credits in a second. So if you don't want to hear any of those, come follow me on any of my socials or on Instagram or Twitter to keep following on any other shows that I will be checking out or posting about. And let me know what you guys thought of it. Leave it in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, or on the Instagram post or Twitter post that I post this in, because podcasts don't really have any other place to post unless you're watching on YouTube. Leave it in the comments. We're going to go in the after credits in a second, but for those who don't want to hear those, thanks again for listening. Until next time, see ya. Alright, welcome to the after credits part. So, if you're here, you're gonna be listening to some of my favorite episodes of the series, and maybe I'll throw in like the one I didn't really enjoy the much. So, I'm gonna do like my top 3 that I really loved and I wish there was more. Now, there's no really particular order, but I just want more from these episodes. Not number 1, but like the one that hits me first is Loop and Ocho. That one, or Oko? I think it's Oko. Loop and Oko. And man, this is one of those episodes that I was upset because there's so much story in this one that I've seen before. The tale has been done before, but it's fun to see in a Star Wars universe and to see this classic world where the Empire has taken over this planet and it's working somewhat with the organization that is on that planet, because that's kind of how they're only going to be able to coexist for the most part. And you get the character of Loop, who is basically a slave that has been brought in to kind of deal with some of the hard work that the Empire needs to do, to be then not rescued, but to be found by Oko and her father, and taken in as a family member. It's one of those things that could have been expanded more, a little bit more backstory, but it was not. And it kind of jumps into the 7 years later. The Empire has been doing crazy stuff. It's like taking over more, and so this is where it kind of does the Oko, the daughter of the father, dirty, because normally you would give more backstory, more weight for Oko to see why she's working with the Empire. We understand that it's like, if you take a step back, you can kind of see it, like she's trying to do everything she can for the planet and things in her own way, in her mindset, but we don't have any backstory and it doesn't work well with that. And Loop is kind of just really not indebted, but she's grateful for the family she has now and everything that she's been given. That she just wants to do everything she can for this family, for her father and her sister. But it's just this convoluted stuff just goes crazy. The sister betrays the family to join the Empire. Loop feels betrayed when she finds this out, goes to her father. This whole wonderful demonstration of the Jedi lightsaber being passed down from their ancestor. Just every head household gets this heir just passed down the generations. I like that lore. That was great. And then just fantastic battle on the ship. It's really great. It could have been so much more. It's one of those episodes that's really fun. I really wanted more, but it didn't. But it is one of those I do really like to, just because it is. Let's see, another of my top 3. I'm kind of now, as I'm looking through these titles, I'm like, there's a lot more than 3, and there's a lot more, but I'm going to try to pick the 3 that I like, that I'll probably rewatch a lot more. I'm gonna start from number 1. Actually, I'm gonna just go through every episode. Actually, Loop was number 8, so I'm gonna start with number 1, the duel. The duel was this is the one where it was black and white, and the only color was the lightsabers and the blasters. I liked this because it was a simple story of a wanderer going to a village that is being overrun by the Sith and bandit. To be found out that the wanderer is a Sith hunter who also is a Sith. That was like, whoa, okay, that's crazy. I'm like, all right, that is intense. Just go for it. Tatooine Rhapsody, episode 2. This one was interesting because there wasn't really that much fight. There was a few little chaotic scenes here and there, but it was more of a musical episode. It was fun overall, and it kind of told the story of, I forgot the name of the main character, but of one of the Padawans that escaped during Order. Oh my God, is it Order 66? It better be Order 66 because I'm forgetting it off my head right now. But escapes during that whole pandemonium and is picked up by a young Hutt wanting to become a rock star. And it's one of my least favorite episodes just because it wasn't as action oriented, but it was a fun episode to say the least. I would say this is one of my bottom tier ones for sure. The Twins, this one was made by Studio Trigger. I enjoy that studio. You can tell by their art style what they're doing here. For sure, this one was the more like super anime-ish in a way. Over the top, crazy action, bewilderment, but also one of the best crazy scenes that can happen in Star Wars, where we got it, I forget which movie, but we got the ship in with hyperspace, but this time it's hyperspace with a lightsaber. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's not the top, but it's one of those like upper echelon ones. The Village Bride, this one's one of the more interesting, and I think it's more of a classic tale, and I think this for sure is one of my top 3 because it's one of those things where I want to know more, and it would have been a wonderful introduction to this Jedi character who's kind of wandering with this mercenary, or what we feel is a mercenary because it sounds like their master is long gone, and their master was originally from this planet, where the people on this planet are really in tune with the world and have this like very like cohabitant thing, but the village is being harassed by this. It used to be controlled by the Separatists, but after they fell, this ragtag group like took over, reprogrammed the droids, and are just harassing the people. And it's the tale of this couple going to get married, and then the daughter, the future wife, is surrendering herself because they're asking for the village chief, but she used as a replacement. So it's crazy, classic tales, very sweet, very fun scene of like action in this one, and once again a classic like just one swipe kill thing. It's really great. Episode 5, The Ninth Jedi. I want to say this is one of my top 3, but it's up there, but it's barely pushing it, because this one's an interesting thing, because this one feels like, from what it sounds like from the narration of everything, this one seems like to take place in the future, like far future of what's happened, because the Jedis don't have lightsabers for the most part anymore. It's a very lost technology. It's one of those things that you really don't look into it, like Jedi smiths, so people who are the lightsaber smiths who create these things, they have a way with the Force. It might not be as strong as your traditional Jedis, but everything has the Force within them. And for sure, this fun tale is a gathering of Jedis by I think there's like leader, the Margrave name, and it turns, it's like a great turnaround where like you feel that the Margrave is like evil dude, but it turns out he's good. And actually some of the Jedis most of the Jedis that gathered there are actually Sith that killed the Jedis to get their transmission, to get themselves these lightsabers. Fun, action-packed episode. Like, it's one of my top, but not the top 3 for sure. Overall, fun great episode. 20B1. When I read this, it's like 2B1, and it's like, that is sweet because you can kind of already feel the story in this one. It's not one that I would do a lot of rewatchability, but it has some fun scenes overall towards the end, the second half of the finale. But overall, this is a fun, like I said, this is a fun, childish like story of a young robot wanting to be a Jedi, and it's just fun, adventurous, fun, like overall. Gets intense at the end, but not my least favorite out of all of them. It's really enjoyable to watch. Like I said, number 8, Loop and Echo, I already talked about. Like it's like I said, it's fun. The last one, number 9, final episode for season 1. I hope there's more seasons. Akira? Akakari? Wait, Akakiri? I think that's how it is. Akakari? I think that's how it is. This one's the most interesting one because this is one of the few episodes that you think you know where it's going, but it doesn't turn out that way. And it's like, oh, okay. Not all stories end with a happy ending. And this one for sure was crazy because it's interesting because the plot is pretty simple. This Jedi who had, I feel like it said it had some feelings for this princess, and like ends up going back to this planet because he has a feeling from the Force, and his master's like, hey, you know, we'll send someone, you shouldn't, because if once you go there we won't be able to bring you back. And there's like this ominous feeling like, what's gonna happen? Is he gonna die to sacrifice himself or something? To when he meets with her, it turns out her father was killed because there was a Sith within the royals, took over, and come to, you know, to the finale part where they're fighting and everything, to the point where he can't technically win and he's losing, and he's offered a chance to join the Sith. Like they're offering like, join me, and like your classic Darth Vader, and why can't I remember the old man? Whoa, why is that blanket on me? Dark Sidious. And like, just join me. But it's one of those things like, you know, he's gonna like, no, I'm not, and then he's gonna, you know, next level animation to kill this person. But no, he like does this kind of like slashing, trying to kind of do that, but turns out the last person he kills was his lover or loved one, and his like, you want to save her, join me and I'll teach you how. And he becomes the apprentice to the Sith, and like, wow, okay, he has fallen. Wow, that was crazy. Okay. But yeah, I would say then finally, after kind of talking through all of them, I missed the Elder, episode 7. That is one of my top. I don't know how I missed the Elder. I was looking at it, I have the list in front of me. The Elder. This is one of the most intense ones that I want more from, because it's like early, I would say it's early time where the Sith is no more. They haven't been around for hundreds of years. They've just been in hiding, to the point where the master feels like a heavy dark force disturbance, and turns out there was a Sith user on this planet, and it's one of the most interesting and one of the most like why can I think, not psychological, philosophical episodes. It's one of those things because when the old man is fighting the young Padawan, it's like, yeah, he has no chance. This Sith Lord dude, this Sith, he's been around a while and he knows what he's doing. So a young Padawan has no chance. To the point when the master shows up to kind of avenge, because the episode kind of feels like it kills off the Padawan, but it doesn't. But to the point when they're talking, the Sith actually says that if he was in his prime, he would have been happy to fight this master. And even the master says if he fought him in his prime, the outcome would have been different. And it's one of those things that this story does well, is like, you know, with time, you know, you do gain skills and strength, but with time as well, those strengths and skills degrade. So it is like, even the master says, like, I'm slowly getting weaker as time progresses, but you're getting stronger. It's the young Padawan, he says. For sure. So my top 3 is Loop and Oko, the Elder, and the Village Bride. Those are my top 3 for sure. If you've listened this far, thank you for listening. I'm looking forward to more. So thanks again for listening. Until next time, see ya.